Vancouver Hockey Show back once again. Andrew Wadden with the Healthy Scratches, Nic Houka, Jake Fraser. We're doing sort of a post game here, guys, going into my old realm of my old podcast that I used to do, recapping the post game shows as the Canucks and Ottawa Senators just wrapped up in what was eventful in the end, guys. Looks like the Canucks were home and free on that one, and then Ottawa made a little bit of a game out of it, 4-3 win. And just some bullet points throughout the game. Max Sasson makes his NHL debut, which is great to see. Had that assist on Teddy Bluger's goal. But I think, we definitely have to start with the unfortunate major for Quinn Hughes in the first period. Hits Norris from behind. Norris's chiclets go off the dasher, his nose, whatever. He gets cut. And due to NHL rules, it basically states that it's a major penalty and he has to exit the game. But we were texting, and I want you to start, Jake, because what did you say again? It was like softest major in NHL history. Now that's something we'd have to comb through, to actually find that. But it was completely soft. But at the same time, too, it's like it's just unfortunate. It feels like.
Yeah, it was a really unfortunate play, but yeah, it was soft. I think I said Norris needs to hit the squat rack a little harder. Right. He's got to stay on his feet. Like. That is just a little bump from one of the smallest defensemen in the league, and yeah, head first into the dasher. Like that sucks. That's tough, but yeah, it didn't like that it was a 5, but do understand the NHL rules on that.
Well, Nick, you're the football player, so you can chime in with the toughness here, right? What was your thoughts on it?
Yeah, just unfortunate result. I think in that situation you have to kick him out, but I feel like kind of the Ottawa mentality is to kind of dive around and try to draw penalties. Like Stützle is really big into that. Norris a little bit, Batherson. So I think hopefully that changes their mentality and kind of shows what can happen when you don't play the game the right way.
Well, speaking of, them, well, not really diving around, but Stützle with a bad hit on Nils Höglander right near the end of the game, and Hoagie went wild on him. Like he saw red, and then Stützle again was pissing off everybody else at the end of the game there. And listen, he's a good player, and if Hoagie wants to get him off the ice, that would be really good. But I mean, Hoagie ends up getting the extra penalty there. Canucks were able to weather that storm and get the 4-3 victory. Pettersson's line though is really starting to click, and the funny thing is, on a night like tonight, Petey's sort of laying in the cut. Well, the other two guys sort of took care of business, and Kiefer Sherwood is hot as a pistol right now. But you got to love seeing 2 goals, Nick, from Jake DeBrusk.
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't seem like that long ago. It was 2 weeks ago. We're talking about, wow, is Jake DeBrusk going to do anything for us? Finally, he's found his game. He looks great. I love the patience on the second goal. That was just beautiful. That's, again, a player playing with confidence. Didn't shovel the puck right at the goalie, tried to take a one-timer from a bad angle, took his time, collected the puck, and then tucked it in. You got to love seeing that. And if he can continue to play like that, I think it's going to be very good for Pettersson not having to do everything by himself.
How about Tyler Kleven on that goal, though, Jake, the defenseman for Ottawa? He was just looked awful on that play. I'm sure he's going to be shown that video tomorrow, and there's probably going to be some curse words behind it. But even the hustle to get back, just awful on that play. But Jake, this team, I kind of feel like they're kind of like a poor man's version of the Vancouver Canucks right now. And they do have a few old Canucks on there, and of course their old head coach as well. But they're that team that's trying to take that step, and I feel like the Canucks have been able to do that. But Ottawa just they seem stuck in the mud. They just can't seem to get over that line.
Yeah, I was thinking about this throughout the game today. You got to look at, I mean, everybody talks about, I was talking about this during the summer. Can Ottawa be like that team that sneaks into the playoffs that wasn't in there last year? Can they take that big step finally? But I think you look at their captain, Brady Tkachuk, tonight. I mean, they take that penalty, and on the delayed call, Canucks are doing a good job moving the puck around, wasting time. And he's running around like he's like a chicken with his head cut off. Ends up getting himself ejected from the game with that 10-5 with the fight with Joshua too. He's just, it seems like when things don't go the Senators' way, a lot of those guys stop playing hockey and just decide to run around, take stupid penalties, and take themselves out of a game. Because it ended up being a 4-3 game. If Brady Tkachuk's in the lineup for those last 5 minutes, it might have gone to overtime. But he's an idiot, takes himself out of the game, makes stupid plays, and we get the result that we had tonight, thankfully for the Canucks.
Yeah, I feel like Matthew has kind of found the line of how to play that way, but not go over the top too often. And Brady is still very much trying to find that. I also think, like, they kind of mentioned it on the broadcast with the team's culture, how I think it was Greener or even Kachuk at a press conference mentioning that, like, when things don't go their way, they have it in the mindset, oh, not this again. We're screwed. And you can't have that. You have to change the culture in the locker room. It sounds cliche, but it's actually so important.
Well, I was thinking about this though too, guys. Like Brady Tkachuk is in what? I think it's year 6 of a 7-year deal. Yeah, he's in year 6 of a 7-year deal. So this summer he can sign an extension. If you're Brady Tkachuk and you haven't played a game in the NHL postseason, like, you're probably wondering, hey, like, and as you can see with the frustration, guys, from tonight, like, this is the kind of thing that just keeps happening for Brady Tkachuk in the Ottawa Senators, right? So I do wonder, not starting to start any rumors or fires or anything like that, but I do wonder if Brady Tkachuk could be available. That would be a guy many teams I think would be sought after, and I think if he was in the right situation as well, boy, could he be a menace, especially in the playoffs. Maybe the Canucks should go sniffing around at Brady Tkachuk. We'll see. So this is the start of a 6-game Eastern road trip, and they just finished a 6-game homestand. They've got another 6-game homestand coming up, guys. They're the longest of the season for the Canucks. So when they get back from the 6, they'll go back to 6 at home. But I mean, shoot, the way they're playing right now on the road, do they even want to unpack their suitcases? Like 7-1, Jake, to start the season now on the road. I believe they said on the broadcast that it's the best start to the season on the road, at least for the Vancouver Canucks in their history. Have to dig that up. But regardless, 7-1 is impressive over 8 games. But, after that homestand, going 2-4 there, just getting 4 points out of 12, Jake, like they've got to start to make hay at home. But before we get there, let's see what they can do with the 5 that are left on the road.
Yeah, and these road games coming up, I mean, you've got the Bruins, Penguins, Sabres, Red Wings, Wild. Like, you should be able to win. You should be able to win at least 3 of those games, right? I don't understand the struggles at home. Like, they're losing. They've definitely played better teams in their homestands than they have on the road so far. Like there's the California road trip, like that was a 3-game sweep there, and it should have been, right? They went to Philly, they won in Florida, which was nice, but yeah, I don't know what it is with this team and playing at home. It seems like it's been an issue for a few years too. Like it's not just this year that they've struggled at home. It's frustrating because a lot of fans, I'm sure, like even myself, like I don't really want to go to games because I don't like to pay to watch the Canucks lose. They've got to figure it out. And on that 6-game homestand that they have coming up, you started off with Columbus. That's got to be a win. But then you do have the Lightning and the Panthers and the Bruins. I mean, the Bruins are struggling, but that's not an easy team to beat ever, right? So I don't know. I don't really see the light at the end of the tunnel right now as far as home games go, but yeah, they really need to clean up on this road trip in order to give themselves a nice cushion going back home.
Nick, do you see a difference between the way they're playing at home and on the road? Like, is there anything that you can sort of pinpoint that you go, like, what the hell are they doing here? Why aren't they doing it?
Yeah, maybe on the road it kind of feels like they have nothing to lose. I don't know if it's like less pressure playing in front of the home crowd. Like we're not Toronto, but we do have a fairly difficult market to play in, right? Like there's a lot of pressure. Like whenever one of our star players is struggling, like Patterson or someone like that, they're in the spotlight instantly. I wonder if that maybe plays a factor, but regardless, it's kind of weird. Like you're supposed to have that comfort when you're at home. You have the crowd driving you, giving you energy when you're exhausted. And it seems like we get that on the road and not at home. So that's really, I don't know, it's very strange complex.
Yeah. JT Miller was the big news of the week for the Vancouver Canucks. He's taking an indefinite leave of absence from the team. just been sort of talking to some people that are around the team, and I mean, not really breaking anything here. Like, we all know what's technically going on with him in terms of he is battling an injury. We knew that since the preseason, really, where he barely even played. And then everybody's just saying right now that he just needs a mental reset. And in this day and age, like, I mean, I wonder about, back in the day, if anybody would even acknowledge this, right? But, the fact that, the Canucks are able to sort of do that for JT Miller, but also too, like, I think they really understand, like, listen, like, this guy's our heart and soul, really, and he runs hot. We get that, he wears his emotions on his sleeve. But I think more than anything else, they just need to get him right, because he is going to be a major factor for this team if they are going to be able to make any sort of playoff run, or, make it into the playoffs this year. But I do like the fact, Jake, that the head coach did sort of start off everything and just saying, hey, like, this was not about him getting benched, right? And then just please don't speculate to the media, and then he, sort of let it on from there. But, over the next 5 games that we're going to see here on the road, Jake, Miller's, like, there's still going to be some pressure on the Canucks here, and some adversity, really, to, get these, the points they need, especially when they're missing somebody like JT Miller, who is like a pseudo, captain. I know he wears a letter, and Quinn wears the C, but he's got a major voice in that dressing room.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be a challenge to win without him any game. Any game you don't have one of your top players, like, it's a lot harder to win. But
Sure.
Yeah, like I was saying, on this road trip, they're playing some weaker teams. I think they can squeeze out a few wins without him. And I mean, I'd rather him take this step back from the game, take a little break, and get his mind right, get his health right, and then come playoff time, that's when we need JT Miller. We don't need him for this 6-game stretch on the road. We need him come April, May. So yeah, I just hope that that everything goes well for him, and he starts to just feel better physically, mentally, and comes back fresh and ready to go whenever he's ready.
Do you feel, Nick, that, there's any sort of worry, though, with this? Like, obviously there is, right? I mean, anytime anybody needs a mental reset, like, that's a pretty big deal. But also, too, like, I wonder if this is also, just as much about the injury as it is about the sort of mental break.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, I think at times it hasn't looked like he's been moving quite as well as he usually does. He's still found a way to be productive, but he doesn't quite look like himself. As far as the mental or physical aspect, like, we're not in the room, right? We can only speculate. And I think we've kind of seen a couple things on social media recently that haven't been very appropriate and have led to certain things that are not really good. Like, yeah, so we're not in the room. I hope he's okay. I think this is very good for the Canucks long term. You miss him for 6 games, you get him back. He feels better mentally. He feels refreshed. Possible that he had burnout or something like that. I think long term this is the right move, and it might be a little bit of annoying, but you have to have a little bit of patience.
Yeah. Yeah, and then people go into his wife's Instagram, and then all of a sudden all hell breaks loose. Like, oh, she's deleted her Instagram. Like, come on, guys. Like, give him a little bit of privacy here. So
Yeah, because you're
open
like
the best for
harassing
JT
her.
Miller, but yeah, exactly. Like, I mean,
Come on, guys.
Canucks fan base is wild though at times, right? It can be a crazy, crazy lot. We're gonna get to that in just a moment, because there's definitely a rumor that caught fire with the Vancouver fan base this week. But let's get to Demko and Besser first, who are on the road trip. Elliot Friedman reporting it on Hockey Night in Canada. I believe that Besser will play on the trip. Jake, I think that's a big deal, obviously, for the Vancouver Canucks to get their top sniper back. But at the same time, too, it's like, what's the mix now? Because JT's out, Besser's going to come back in. You're not going to put Besser up with Pettersson and DeBrusk, are you? Because Kiefer Sherwood's just been so good there. Like, but at the same time, like, this is Brock Besser, a proven sniper in the NHL.
Yeah, I honestly think you keep that Sherwood, Pettersson, DeBrusk line together. They've been playing really well lately. They're the top line on the team so far, since they've been together. I think you probably drop Garland and Joshua back with Teddy Bluger, and then you give Besser to Suter, and maybe add either Danton Heinen or Niels Höglander to that. I mean, Höglander's obviously been in Talkett's doghouse lately, but so it's looking like it would probably be Heinen, but I'd like to see Höglander get an opportunity up in the top 6 again.
I think that'd be a really good split, right? I think that gives us the best depth. And again, like Garland's been doing so good in top 6 minutes, moving him down to our bottom two forward lines, like he's going to get even more favorable matchups. Joshua tonight looks like he's starting to find his games. He's playing physical. He threw down with Kachuk. I saw him ragdoll someone in the corner. Like he's starting to find his game again. I think I that would be great depth for us having them on the third line.
A little bit worried about Joshua at the end of the game there when the dying seconds, he almost took a penalty on Stützle. Because Stützle came in and gave a little, quick stop on Lankinen, little snow job on him. And can't believe who the defenseman, or I can't remember who the defenseman was there. I think it might have been Susie, but kind of didn't do anything. Next thing you know, Joshua comes over the top, smacks him in the back of the head. It's like, whoa, don't do that. Like, do not get a penalty here. But yeah, you're right. I like what I've seen from Joshua as well. He's really playing that heavy hockey that, we love from him. So, but it's going to be an interesting mix right now because, with JT Miller being out, who's going to be able to step up in that, I guess it would be 2C at that point with Pettersson riding shotgun right now at 1C. That rumor that we talked about, or I teased, is the Zadorov rumor, and how Elliot Friedman basically in his 32 thoughts just said, just thinking out loud here, like if there were a place that Zadorov, maybe he would want to go back to Vancouver. And then of course, Vancouver, Twitter or whatever just takes that and runs with it. Typing Nikita Zadorov right now into Google and just see how many stories have been written about this. It made me roll my eyes, Nick, when I saw it. I mean, this is a prime example of the Canucks fan base just going crazy. But let's look at the facts here. First of all, he's 20 games, a quarter of a way through the first season of a 6-year, $30 million contract. He's the third highest time on ice amongst the defensemen in Boston right now, playing close to 20 minutes a night. And I've also found out, too, that he has a pretty lucrative off-ice deal with the Bentley dealership where he's getting flowed himself some free Bentleys out there in Boston. So I'll tell you what, if you're Nikita Zadorov, you put 30 sheets into your bank account, and now you're driving Bentleys playing for the big bad Boston Bruins. Just none of this is adding up to me.
Yeah, if you're gonna lose, do it in style, right? Pull up to the rink in the Bentley, look awesome, and then get an L on the scoreboard as you walk off the ice. Also, Canucks fans, why do you want him back? He chose to sign with Boston of all teams. This is like if a girl left you for some more rich person, or someone who's like a doctor, and you're like a tradesperson or something like that, and then she comes crawling back to you. Why do you want them? No, I don't want them back. Have an ego and be like, hey, you didn't want to sign with me? It's done. Sorry, man. Enjoy your Bentleys in peace.
Yeah, but Jake, what? First of all, if you are Canucks, you guys are both big Canucks fans. Would you even want Zadorov back? I know he did some great things in the playoffs last year, but he's not going to do those things over and over, right? Also, too, getting a little bit longer in the tooth. And as I stated, this is year one of a 6-year deal. Again, just none of this is adding up. It just seemed like complete fodder for Twitter, basically, and for people to write articles about. But at the end of the day, was there not an adult in the room that said, "Guys, this is stupid. What are we doing here?"
Yeah, I'll tell you what my friend Ryan Denny said to me. He said Nikita Zadorov is an electric factory. So that's why Canucks fans want him back, because of all those cutting down the left side, sniping short side in the playoffs, stepping into clappers from the point against the Oilers and burying. It's the plays like that are sticking in people's mind, and not the regular season that he had with the Canucks where he didn't really do much. And he was he's a good number 5, but that's what he is. He's a good number 5 defenseman that I don't want to pay $5 million a year to. If you look at a potential trade, for example, you'd have to give up probably Carson Soucy and Niels Höglander to make the salary work. And so you're giving up 2 roster players to make a lateral move to just replace Susie. Like it doesn't make any sense whatsoever to.
Yeah, and you already gave
It's a
up
very
assets to
Sandro
acquire
move.
him. Yes, yes, exactly. Very, very, very much. Listen, we don't want Jim Benning returning to the Vancouver Canucks anytime soon. That seems like it would be a Jimbo type of move. So I'm going to put a nix on that one, but that was fun, I guess, for people to sort of debate over the last few days. All right, as we mentioned, the road trip rolls on. So it'll be Tuesday in Boston, Wednesday in Pittsburgh, Friday in Buffalo, and then Sunday. So no Saturday night game for the Canucks. Sunday in Detroit, and it wraps in Minnesota. So some interesting teams there to face on the road. Again, like I said, starts in Boston, who are reeling a little bit right now. But, teams usually do step up after they basically got their head coach fired, right? So we'll see what they can do against the Bees. Really interested to see the game on Wednesday against Pittsburgh, because it's always great to see Sid the Kid, 600 goals for his career, scored that tonight. So congratulations to Sid. But we'll be back next week. We'll wrap all of that up, and hopefully the Canucks will see themselves on the positive side of things on the road trip as they continue to roll through the East Coast. For the Healthy Scratches, Nick and Jake, I'm Andrew Wadden. Thanks for listening, everyone.